So the SMSs will read, we will get to your phone book, we will text people, we will call them, we will tell them that you have our loan and you have refused to pay. I, at some point, contemplated suicide because I could not take it no longer. Within the app, there were so many others. So you could borrow the first two, then you borrow at the bottom to pay the first two. One of the lenders started calling people from my phone book one by one. It is a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. I'm just laying on the couch with my eyes glued on my phone screen. One would think that maybe I was reading a very powerful article, but that wasn't it. I was calculating my small payslip against my salary. I had just worked for 2 weeks, for 2 months only, but I really wanted to achieve too much in a short while. And now, this day, that's why I was calculating with seriousness. But one other thing that I wanted to achieve this month is that I wanted to get my mother a small fruit business. And I also was tired of stepping out of the house smelling like a stove because I did not have a gas cooker. I also wanted to get myself a radio because it's a darling to my community. If all this was put together with my normal monthly expenditure, then I was going to run short of about 12,000 Kenyan shillings. But where was I going to get the money from? So I left that to rest, and I turned to the socials to try and catch up with the outside world to see what was going on. So as I was scrolling through the newsfeed, an advert got my attention. It read, "Do you need cash?" And then I whispered to myself, "This is God sent. Here comes my guardian angel." The deal was too good because someone was offering me money to pay in 91 days. So I did not think twice. I just clicked to the link and it redirected me to the Apple Store, where I downloaded the app and I only needed to key in my personal data to get money. And that's what happened. I received my loan instantly. And I thought to myself, now I have gotten the money I wanted, but it was not enough, although it supplemented my budget. So after a few days, 6 days later, my phone was buzzing nonstop. A text here, a message here, or a call. Those were dubbed friendly reminders that my loan was due the next day, which was the 7th day. So the loan term was 7 days and not the 91 days on the advert. I had fallen in this trap. So at this point, I just knew that I was in problems, but I did not know how to get around it. And the messages that were coming, the reminders, as time went by, as we moved closer to the 7th day, the reminders now became threats that we have your personal data. Because something that I realized that when I had accepted terms and conditions, I had given consent for them to access my personal data. So the SMSs will read, we will get to your phone book, we will text people, we will call them, we will tell them that you have our loan and you have refused to pay if you are not going to honor the obligation. And remember, it is a day before the due date. So what do I do in this situation? I really thought to myself that if I let that to happen, then I was going to lose face, and I did not want to be embarrassed. So I remembered that when I was downloading the first app, there were so many other similar apps at the Play Store. I went back and downloaded another one to pay this first app. But now that was a problem because the interest rate was so high. When I was getting like 2,500, the money that is sent to my M-Pesa is 1,550. So the interest rate is so high. So one app cannot pay one. So I happened to borrow two to pay one. And this circle went on and went on until I got myself in a fixed web of debts. I did not know how to get out of this. And whatever I was fearing now happened because I got here by trying to save my face because I did not want them to call people or text people. So when I got stuck, that's what happened because I had more than 10 apps to pay. And in fact, there is this one app that I really liked. It was a super app. One app, but in between it, within the app, there were so many others. So you could borrow the first two, then you borrow at the bottom to pay the first two. Then the circle was getting me in real deep troubles. So at this particular point, I did not know what to do because people now started receiving messages. Others were just customers. I barely knew them. But they are being texted with my ID number and my full names that this person took our money and refused to pay. And others will call them, tell them that let Levy honor the obligation of paying our debt, or we will force you to help him pay. They even threatened to form WhatsApp groups. And I was really scared. I really got stressed. When I worked at my workplace, the people who knew the real Levy will tell that there was something wrong with me because the embarrassment was written on my face. I, at some point, contemplated suicide because I could not take it no longer. But at some point, when these people were receiving the messages, others would call to empathize with me, to try and tell me that these things happen, and it is not me alone. They have also been in the same situation. I remember a friend telling me that hiyo yako ni bure. One of the apps had actually texted my mother-in-law with my detail. And it was at this point that it became normal to me. I started seeing it like, okay, if other people are going through the same, so this thing is big. It means that there are so many other people like me who are reckless when it comes to borrowing, that we are in the same WhatsApp group. So I now started taking it as a normal thing. I no longer cared because people had already been texted, others had been called. So when I was being threatened that now a WhatsApp group will be formed or they will come at my workplace, it was a normal thing to me. I just wanted to, it is only that I could not tell them, but I was like, you can do whatever you want because there is nothing I can do about it. Not that it was a good thing because that's the only thing I could say. There was nothing else that I could say to make things right. So after I had talked to the friends, then normalizing this situation, it was short-lived because one of the lenders started calling people from my phone book one by one. And at this particular day, they called my half-grandmother. And she's this type of tough lady who went to school in the early 70s. And she has some good English with a Louis accent. So I know she gave them their medicine. But immediately after the call with these people, she called me. And the first thing she told me when I received the call was, are you an imbecile or just someone who did not go to school? How can you go borrowing high-interest loans? Don't you have family to borrow from? Don't you have colleagues? There are people who earn less than what you earn, but they have some good planning with their money. They plan their money well so that they do not get into debts, especially high-interest rate loans. Why can't you do the old school way? Can't you go to a bank and get a loan? Then after this conversation, I picked so many lessons from this conversation because whatever she was saying made sense to me. That if I had borrowed from a friend, then maybe it would be easier. The interest rate would not have been this high. Then I also picked that if I really wanted a loan, what are the terms and conditions? Because in the first place, I did not read the terms and conditions because the deal was too good. So are you going to read the terms and conditions? Are you going to get to know what is your plan, the plan to get out of that debt? What will happen in case you are unable to pay during the stipulated time? Can you renegotiate with the lender? And I thought to myself that I really needed to do better. And it has helped me till now because it is like 2 years now. It has made me a better person, a better decision maker when it comes to making decisions about and around money. Thank you, Loresho.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we can do better than that. What an interesting and amazing, amazing story from Levy Amukangu. I'm sure we come from the same village, Levy.